Hey, welcome back to the channel. Today we're diving into something truly extraordinary. The top 10 most valuable Australian One Shillings. These aren't just old coins. They're hidden treasures worth tens of thousands, even hundreds of thousands of dollars each. Stick around, because the shilling in your pocket change might just be worth a small fortune. Let's moving on. First up, the 1910 Australian One Shilling. In the world of numismatics, few treasures carry the same mystique, charm, and profound allure as the 1910 Australian One Shilling, a coin that represents the dawn of an era and stands as a timeless emblem of both national identity and monetary heritage. Minted during the very first year Australia issued its own distinctive coinage, this particular shilling does not merely represent currency. It encapsulates a moment of transition when a young nation sought to carve its own destiny while still holding ties to the British crown. With its pristine silver composition and the portrait of King Edward VII gracing the obverse, it is a coin that reflects a story far greater than its face value. The story of the Commonwealth's earliest steps toward sovereignty and recognition. The rarity of the 1910 One Shilling cannot be overstated. While many coins were struck for circulation, only a select few have survived in such condition as to command astronomical values in today's elite coin markets. Every collector knows that survival rates in mint or near-mint state are vanishingly small, which is precisely why this single coin, estimated at a staggering $135,000, stands at the pinnacle of desirability. When viewed under careful light, its crisp details, sharp rim, and lustrous surfaces evoke the kind of awe that only museum-worthy numismatic artifacts inspire. For advanced collectors, this coin is not just a purchase. It is an acquisition of history, prestige, and the ultimate validation of connoisseurship. What makes this coin's allure even greater is the cultural and financial prestige tied to its ownership. Those fortunate enough to hold such an artifact enter a rarefied world of elite investors and historical custodians, where a single shilling becomes a bridge between eras, Edwardian refinement and the modern Australian legacy. The 1910 shilling is no ordinary collectible. It is an anchor of stability in the volatile world of investments, often outperforming traditional assets due to its rarity and unrepeatable nature. With only a handful of comparable specimens known, the $135,000 valuation represents not merely price but legacy, a statement of power, refinement and vision. To secure this piece is to hold a cornerstone of Australia's financial and cultural story, forever enshrined in silver, forever elevated in the eyes of collectors and historians alike. Next up, the 1911 Australian One Shilling emerges as a masterpiece of rarity and elegance, a coin that defines the artistry and gravitas of its era, while holding immense weight in the world of serious collectors. Struck under the reign of King George V, this shilling represents the second chapter in Australia's independent coinage story, a chapter that is both rich in symbolism and profound in meaning. Unlike its 1910 predecessor, which marked the inaugural year of national coinage, the 1911 issue reflects the continuation of a young nation's journey into identity and sovereignty, preserving the transition into a new reign while carrying the full dignity of silver craftsmanship. Its valuation of $72,000 speaks not just to scarcity, but to a perfect intersection of artistry, survival, and demand. Many coins from this year entered circulation, enduring the wear and handling of daily transactions, yet only a vanishingly small number have survived in remarkable states of preservation. Each surviving specimen carries with it the whispers of the past, tales of trade, commerce, and the bustling lives of early 20th century Australians. Yet the extraordinary few, preserved against the odds, now command reverence in auction halls and private collections, where they are celebrated as artifacts far beyond their monetary denomination. The 1911 shilling's appeal lies in its delicate balance of accessibility and prestige. While not as astronomically rare as the 1910 counterpart, its relative scarcity ensures that it remains firmly among the crown jewels of numismatic collections. It represents a refined investment for discerning individuals who seek both beauty and value, with its market performance reflecting steady appreciation and resilience against economic fluctuation. Collectors who secure such a coin join a lineage of custodianship, ensuring that this fragile yet enduring link to history remains protected for future generations. Ultimately, the 1911 Australian One Shilling is more than silver. It is a narrative frozen in time, a symbol of heritage and a financial statement of refined taste. Valued at $72,000, it is an asset that transcends its material composition to embody the intangible power of history, rarity, and prestige. To hold such a coin is to hold not just money, but meaning, to step into the continuity of legacy, investment, and the eternal allure of numismatic treasures. Next up, the 1912 Australian One Shilling stands at the very summit of numismatic prestige, an extraordinary artifact whose rarity and market desirability elevate it into a realm of near-mythic reverence. This coin, struck during the reign of King George V, occupies a pivotal place in the progression of Australia's early Commonwealth coinage. By 1912, the nation was finding its footing, stabilizing its identity on the global stage, and producing coinage that would circulate throughout an economy still young but increasingly vibrant. Yet, from among the many shillings produced that year, only the most immaculate and enduring survivors remain, coins whose presence in the modern market sets off waves of anticipation among elite collectors worldwide. Valued at a commanding $148,000, the 1912 shilling represents more than silver. Preserved in stunning condition, it represents opportunity at the highest echelon of collecting. Its survival is a triumph over time itself, resisting the wear, circulation, and inevitable attrition that consumed the vast majority of its peers. The obverse, bearing the resolute portrait of King George V, pairs with the iconic Australian coat of arms on the reverse, uniting sovereign dignity with national pride. To the practiced eye of the connoisseur, this coin's detail, its brilliance, and its rarity create an almost magnetic allure. It is a symbol of the uncommon, the extraordinary, and the supremely valuable. Collectors who pursue this piece are not simply buyers, they are custodians of cultural and financial heritage. The 1912 shilling belongs in the highest tiers of collections, where it transforms from currency to legacy, an object of enduring value in a world of shifting markets. The valuation of $148,000 reflects not only scarcity but also demand from those who understand that true rarity is finite, unrepeatable, and eternally appreciated. Each auction appearance of a specimen of this caliber becomes a landmark event, generating excitement and competition among collectors eager to secure a cornerstone of Australian numismatic history. This coin is not for the casual collector. It is an investment-grade artifact that appeals to those with vision, taste, and the foresight to recognize that the most valuable treasures are not created, they are preserved. To hold the 1912 shilling is to hold sovereignty, rarity, and prestige encapsulated in silver, a timeless marvel that transforms into both financial power and historical immortality. Next up, the 1913 Australian One Shilling emerges as a remarkable numismatic treasure, distinguished not only by its age and rarity, but also by its deep resonance within Australia's evolving story. Struck during the reign of King George V, this shilling bridges the early years of Australian coinage with the momentum of a young nation asserting its identity in the global economy. While many coins were minted and circulated in this period, the survival of pristine specimens from 1913 is nothing short of astonishing. It is this rarity, this defiance against time, that elevates the coin into the elite ranks of collectibles, commanding valuations as high as $50,000. At first glance, one is struck by the artistry and symbolism embedded in the coin's design. The obverse portrays the dignified profile of George V, a monarch whose reign oversaw an era of sweeping social and political change, while the reverse displays Australia's coat of arms, emblematic of national unity and pride. To hold such a coin is to touch history itself, to bridge the world of Edwardian elegance with the dynamic aspirations of early 20th century Australia. Yet its value is not simply historical, it is economic, with the 50,000 valuation underscoring the powerful intersection of rarity, desirability, and collector demand. The market performance of the 1913 shilling is a testament to the enduring power of numismatics as both art and investment. Unlike other assets which can be reproduced or fluctuate in infinite supply, coins of this caliber exist in finite numbers, their survival dependent on extraordinary preservation. Investors who secure such a piece are engaging not only with history, but with the immutable laws of supply and demand. Every time a specimen appears at auction, the numismatic world takes notice, knowing that opportunities to acquire such an artifact are fleeting and fiercely contested. Beyond the valuation, however, lies the coin's intangible appeal, the prestige, the pride and the profound sense of ownership it imparts. To possess the 1913 Australian One Shilling is to stand as a guardian of a nation's heritage, a custodian of art and rarity whose decision to preserve this treasure ensures its place in history for generations yet to come. At $50,000, it is more than an acquisition. It is a statement of taste, foresight, and a recognition that the greatest treasures of all are those that time cannot replicate. Next up, the 1914 Australian One Shilling occupies a place of exceptional reverence in numismatic circles, a coin that transcends its role as currency to become an enduring emblem of rarity, artistry, and the tumultuous era in which it was struck. The year 1914 was monumental for the world, marking the outbreak of the First World War, an event that would forever alter societies, economies, and histories across continents. Against this backdrop of profound upheaval, the minting of Australia's shilling in 1914 is not just a financial artifact but a cultural anchor, reminder of a young nation forging its identity while standing alongside global powers in a time of uncertainty and sacrifice. This shilling, now valued at an extraordinary $175,000, represents not only a pinnacle of rarity, but also the immeasurable appeal of provenance. Very few coins from this year have survived in the immaculate condition required to achieve such valuation. Each specimen of the 1914 shilling is a miracle of preservation, its surface is unmarred by the decades, its detail still sharp, its luster undiminished. The obverse bears the stately image of King George V, his profile lending the coin a sense of regal permanence, while the reverse proudly features Australia's coat of arms, an enduring symbol of unity during a time when the nation itself was sending men and resources abroad to support the war effort. Collectors covet this coin for more than rarity. They pursue it for the prestige that comes with stewardship. The 1914 shilling is often described as an artifact of resilience, embodying the spirit of a country tested by global conflict yet still pressing forward with identity and pride. In auction houses and private negotiations, its presence sparks competitive fervor as serious investors and passionate numismatists alike recognize the irreplaceable nature of this piece. Its $175,000 valuation reflects a perfect storm of scarcity, demand and historical gravitas, qualities that ensure its continued elevation in the pantheon of Australian numismatics. To own the 1914 Australian One Shilling is to secure far more than an asset. It is to embrace a living fragment of history, a reminder of endurance, and a validation of refined taste and foresight. This coin is a treasure of national heritage and a crown jewel in any advanced collection, destined to appreciate in both monetary value and cultural resonance for generations to come. Next up, The 1915 Australian One Shilling is a numismatic masterpiece steeped in history and scarcity, a coin whose significance extends far beyond its modest denomination. Struck at a time when the world was in the midst of the First World War, this shilling encapsulates an era of sacrifice, resilience and determination. For Australia, 1915 was a year marked by profound national identity. The year of Gallipoli, a campaign that shaped the Anzac legend and became an enduring cornerstone of the Australian spirit. The 1950 shilling thus carries with it not just monetary worth, but deep cultural weight, serving as a tangible link to a moment when a nation defined itself on the world stage. Valued at an impressive $90,000, the rarity of this coin lies in its survival against overwhelming odds. The majority of coins minted in 1915 entered circulation immediately, serving their purpose in commerce during difficult wartime conditions. Few were spared the wear of everyday use, and fewer still have survived in the near-pristine state demanded by elite collectors. For those specimens that did endure, the preservation of sharp detail, striking luster, and a strong profile of King George V has elevated them into artifacts of world-class significance. The reverse design featuring the Australian coat of arms reinforces the coin's identity as a proud national emblem amidst a world in upheaval. Market desirability for the 1915 shilling remains consistently high, with investors and collectors drawn to its combination of rarity, historical depth and intrinsic beauty. Its $90,000 valuation reflects more than scarcity. It reflects demand from those who understand that certain treasures are beyond replication. In an age of mass production, the finite survival of coins like this creates a perfect storm of desirability. Once acquired, they seldom re-enter the marketplace, making every auction or private sale an event of tremendous excitement. For the advanced collector, the 1915 Australian One Shilling is more than a coin. It is a statement of vision, refinement, and cultural stewardship. To hold such a piece is to carry the weight of history in one's hand, to bridge the century between then and now, and to secure a fragment of Australia's wartime heritage in physical form. At $90,000, it is an asset of profound significance, destined not only to maintain its value, but to grow as future generations recognize the rarity, prestige, and enduring legacy of one of Australia's most important numismatic treasures. Next up, the 1916 Australian One Shilling stands as an intriguing and important chapter in the narrative of Commonwealth coinage, a piece that bridges artistry, functionality, and heritage during one of the most turbulent years of the early 20th century. While its valuation at $27,000 places it below the astronomical figures of certain rarer issues, this coin carries with it a distinct aura that collectors deeply appreciate. Its worth lies not only in its monetary value but also in the way it reflects the resilience of a nation in wartime and the continued evolution of Australian numismatics. The year 1916 was firmly set against the backdrop of the First World War. Australia, only a young federation at the time, was fully immersed in the sacrifices and challenges of global conflict. Coins like the 1916 shilling were more than economic instruments. They were daily witnesses to a population grappling with uncertainty, rationing, and the personal toll of war. To hold such a coin today is to feel the echo of that struggle, a reminder of how money once circulated through hands that carried both hope and hardship. From a numismatic perspective, the 1916 shilling is prized for its survival in high-grade condition. The majority of these coins endured extensive circulation, often becoming worn beyond recognition after years of handling. To find an example that retains strong luster, sharp detail, and clarity of design is a true rarity. The obverse, featuring the stately image of King George V, retains its regal dignity, while the reverse presents the Australian coat of arms, reinforcing a sense of national pride amidst global turmoil. For advanced collectors, securing a 1916 shilling in such condition is both an accomplishment and an affirmation of refined taste. Valued at $27,000, this coin occupies a sweet spot in the market, prestigious enough to command attention, yet attainable compared to the astronomical rarities of its era. Its investment appeal lies in its combination of history, accessibility, and steady appreciation. Collectors view it as an essential component of a complete Australian shilling collection, and its presence ensures a collection carries both depth and authenticity. For investors, the coin represents a stable asset tied not to volatility but to scarcity, heritage, and enduring demand. The 1916 Australian One Shilling may not boast the highest valuation among its peers, but it radiates significance, charm, and a story as compelling as any. To own one is to hold a fragment of wartime. Australia, an artifact that continues to inspire fascination, respect, and admiration among numismatists and historians alike. Next up, the 1917 Australian One Shilling is a true numismatic powerhouse, a coin of staggering rarity and prestige, whose presence in any collection immediately transforms it from notable to legendary, valued at an extraordinary $160,000. This shilling ranks among the most coveted treasures of early Australian coinage, combining historic resonance, extreme scarcity, and immaculate preservation into a single silver masterpiece. The year 1917 was one of extraordinary intensity. The First World War was at its height, and Australia was a nation deeply involved in the global struggle. Every aspect of life was touched by the war effort, from the economy to society to national morale. The coins of 1917 are scarce because of these conditions. Mass, circulation, attrition, and limited preservation meant that few shillings could survive in pristine state. To encounter one today in exceptional quality is akin to finding a jewel hidden within the annals of history, a coin that has defied the odds for more than a century. The obverse, featuring King George V, exudes regal permanence, a portrait that reassured subjects of continuity during turbulent times. The reverse, bearing the Australian coat of arms, takes on added symbolic weight, a nation young in federation but already hardened by sacrifice, unity, and resilience. Every fine detail preserved in a 1917 shilling is not just artistry, it is testimony to survival. It reminds us that while countless examples were lost to circulation or wear, a select few were spared, destined for numismatic immortality. Its market valuation of $160,000 underscores not only rarity but also fierce demand. When such coins appear at auction, they ignite competition among collectors who understand the significance of owning one of the finest representatives of Australian coinage history. These are not coins that quietly change hands. Their sales are landmark events, marked by anticipation, excitement, and global attention. Investors see in the 1917 shilling not merely a collector's piece, but a bulletproof asset, one that carries both historical depth and extraordinary scarcity, making it one of the most reliable forms of value preservation in the world of tangible assets. To acquire the 1917 Australian One Shilling is to claim a seat among the elite. It is a declaration of vision, refinement, and prestige, an acknowledgement that true rarity cannot be manufactured or replicated. At $160,000, it is not merely a coin, it is a crown jewel of Australian numismatics, a once-in-a-lifetime acquisition that ensures its owner a permanent place in the legacy of collecting. To hold it is to hold history itself, condensed into silver, enriched by time and magnified by unyielding rarity. Next up, the 1918 Australian One Shilling is a coin of extraordinary historical and numismatic stature, a silver treasure that embodies the final echoes of the First World War, while standing as a testament to the resilience of a young nation. Valued today at an impressive $105,000, this shilling holds a prominent place in the hierarchy of Australian coinage, not simply because of its material rarity, but because of the powerful narrative it represents. To collectors and investors alike, it is more than a monetary artifact. It is a bridge between the tragedy of war, the hope of peace, and the enduring pride of a nation still defining itself on the world stage. The year 1918 carries a special weight in history, as the world prepared to close the chapter on one of the most devastating conflicts in human history. Australia had already sacrificed deeply on foreign soil. Within this context, the 1918 shilling was minted and circulated, serving as both an economic tool and an emblem of national persistence. Its obverse carries the dignified image of King George III, steadfast in the face of global turmoil, while the reverse, adorned with Australia's coat of arms, reflects the unity of the Commonwealth states, an image of national identity during uncertain times. What sets this coin apart and elevates it to the lofty valuation of $105,000 is its survival in pristine condition. Most shillings from 1918 bore the full weight of circulation, enduring countless exchanges during years when coinage was indispensable to everyday life. The attrition rate was staggering, and very few survived with their detail, luster, and integrity intact. The few that did endure, preserved against the ravages of time and commerce, now rank among the most sought-after artifacts of Australian numismatics. In the marketplace, the 1918 shilling consistently commands attention, drawing fierce competition from collectors who understand its rarity. Each appearance at auction becomes an event in itself, a reminder that such treasures are finite and cannot be replaced. For investors, the appeal is equally strong. This coin represents stability, scarcity, and an asset class immune to replication. Its $105,000 valuation is as much a reflection of its market demand as it is a recognition of its role in history. To acquire the 1918 Australian One Shilling is to join a select fraternity of collectors who hold not just coins but icons. It is to embrace the weight of history in silver, to preserve a fragment of a world transformed by conflict, and to secure a treasure that grows ever rarer with each passing year. This is not simply a coin, it is a story of endurance, pride, and timeless value. Next up, the 1919 Australian One Shilling is a coin of magnificent prestige and undeniable importance, an artifact that symbolizes both the end of a world conflict and the beginning of a new chapter for Australia. With a current valuation of $120,000, it is regarded as one of the most desirable pieces in early Australian numismatics, combining rarity, condition, and historical resonance into a single masterpiece of collecting. The year 1919 was pivotal. The guns had fallen silent after the First World War, and the Treaty of Versailles had been signed, ushering in an uneasy peace. Australia, a nation still in its adolescence, emerged from the war, deeply scarred but fiercely proud of its contribution. Against this backdrop, the 1919 shilling was minted, a coin that circulated through the hands of returning soldiers, working families, and a society eager to rebuild. It was money, yes, but it was also a symbol of resilience, a reminder of the sacrifices made, and a tangible connection to a moment when history was shifting course. The artistry of the 1919 shilling speaks volumes. On the obverse, King George V gazes outward, embodying authority, stability, and continuity in uncertain times. On the reverse, Australia's coat of arms reaffirms the nation's identity, with the kangaroo and emu flanking the shield as guardians of sovereignty and pride. In preserved specimens of exceptional quality, every detail remains sharp, every line clear, and the silver still shimmers with the luster of craftsmanship from over a century ago. What elevates the 1919 shilling to its lofty $120,000 valuation is not just its beauty but its scarcity. The vast majority of coins struck in 1919 entered relentless circulation, used daily in a society rebuilding itself after war. Very few were spared the inevitable wear, and fewer still survived the passing decades without being melted down, lost, or damaged. To encounter a specimen in pristine condition today is to witness a numismatic miracle, one that collectors know may only appear once in a generation. The market appeal of the 1919 shilling is profound. Auctions featuring high-grade examples ignite passionate bidding wars as serious collectors, recognize that opportunities to acquire such a coin are fleeting. For investors, the coin offers more than rarity. It offers resilience. Unlike assets subject to inflation or duplication, a coin of this caliber is finite, irreplaceable, and perpetually desirable. It is not simply a purchase, it is an acquisition of cultural heritage and financial security rolled into one. To hold the 1919 Australian One Shilling is to hold the spirit of a nation in silver. It is a treasure that transcends wealth, a fragment of history preserved in flawless detail, and a piece destined to appreciate, not only in financial value but also in symbolic power. At 120,000, it is one of the crown jewels of Australian numismatics, a coin that embodies legacy, prestige, and timeless allure.